I started in sales back a long, long time ago, longer than I am going to admit. And I remember it was, I'll tell you, it was about 25 years ago. I really wanted to hit a big goal. And my mentor said to me, Shari, what's your goal for the year? I said, well, now you gotta understand, this is a long time ago, like this is in the 80s. I said, my goal is to make $100,000 this year. $100,000? Really? How are you going to do that? I said, well, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. And that's when he said something to me that really impacted me. He said, I'll tell you the reason why people in general, not just salespeople, never hit their goals, is they declare what they want. They may even put a picture of it on the refrigerator. They think about it. They do affirmations. They're working towards it. But they fail to answer one important question, and that is this: what am I willing to give up in order to get it? And so he challenged me. He said, Shari, what are you willing to give up? He said, because let me ask you a question. How much money did you make last year? I said, 30,000. He said, how about the year before? 21. He says, what makes you think that all of a sudden this year, you're going to triple your income? Don't think about what you want. Think about what it is you're willing to give up. And he tasked me, he said, go home tonight, and I want you to think about what are you willing to give up in order to hit this mega goal that you have. Well, I went home and I thought about it, and I thought, well, maybe I could read more sales books back then, listen to audio tapes, watch videotapes, learn more, practice more. So I was so excited. I came back and I said, Steve, I know exactly what I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up going to the Jackalope bar every single night after work, and instead, I'm going to read sales books and listen to tapes. I'll go to the Jackalope bar twice a week. He said, well, that's a really good start. He said, if you start learning more and training more, you can probably go from 31,000 to 41. But there's something else you're going to have to give up. Go home, he said, think about what else is it that you're willing to give up. Now, one thing I've been told for years is there's only two ways to make more money in sales: have more customers or do better, more training with the customers you already have. So that's when I decided, well, maybe what I'll do is after I make a sale to a customer, I'll ask if they know anybody else who'd be interested in a similar product or service. So I came back all excited the next day. I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give up my pride about asking for referrals. If I meet somebody in a shopping mall or whatever, I'm going to tell them what I do so that I'm not just relying on the clients that come in. I'm going to actually talk about what I do and sell more that way. More training, more clients. And Steve looked at me and said, that'll get you to about $55,000. He says, there's one more thing you're going to have to give up. But it's going to be really hard for you, because I've been watching you thinking, oh my God, what is it? What do I have to give up? Is it men? Like, what is it? Like, come on, like, what do I have to give up? He said, go home and think about it. So I go home, I come back, I said, I'm stumped. He said, I'll tell you what you're going to have to give up. You're going to have to give up your ego. I said, excuse me? And that's when he said something to me I'll never forget. He said, Shari, there's two types of ego. There's good ego and there's bad ego. You see, good ego gives you the ability to claim greatness. Good ego says, I'm going to be the #1 seller at Dyson. I'm going to have Robert or Natalie's job one day. That's good ego. He said, but you have bad ego too. He says, bad ego is when you don't get a deal, you play the blame game. You blame somebody else for your lack of success. You say, oh, it's a bad economy. Oh, there weren't enough customers that came in today. Oh, my Venus is in retrograde. I don't know. He said, if you want to really make it, you have to get rid of that bad ego and start taking responsibility. And he literally made me change the pronoun. I wasn't allowed to say anymore when my manager said, did you get the deal? I wasn't allowed to say they couldn't afford it. He taught me to say, I didn't show them the value. I wasn't allowed to say, oh, the timing wasn't good. I was learned to say, I didn't create enough urgency. And when you switch the pronoun and start taking responsibility for your success as well as your failures, you change your life.